Welcome to another episode of After the Pull. Guys, I'm Mike Spiderslayer, and this is Comic Book Corner 2.0, and this is the video series where I take highly anticipated comics and see if they live up to the hype. Before we jump into it, web heads, I just want to let you know there are going to be some programming changes going into the new year, but I need your guys' feedback. I need your help, and you're going to want to stay tuned on Sunday on what those changes are, and there's also going to be a giveaway. More details on Sunday, so stay tuned for that video. So coming in at number 5, we have Stargirl, The Lost Children. This is issue 1 of 6, limited series done by Jeff Johns. I always give Jeff Johns stuff a try. I think Stargirl's an okay character. I am not fully vested in her. I don't know that much about her, and she comes out with an issue here or there, so I decided to check it out. I thought the interior artwork in this book was actually, quite nice. It was very entertaining. The colors were bright and vibrant. Had some flashback situations that went on in here, but again, it was a pretty good book to look at. There was nothing there where I was like, oh my god, the artwork is absolutely horrible. But this story consists of Amiko and Courtney trying to find out what's going on with some missing sidekicks, I guess, from the Golden Age. And you know what? It was an okay story. There was nothing here where I was like, man, this is blowing me out of the water. And it's like, do I really need the second issue? And actually, the quality of this book is crap. Look at this. Wow, that's really shitty right there, man. So the interior pages are very flimsy. But yeah, we get to see Amiko and Courtney team up together to go finding sidekicks from the Golden Age. And I was like, do I really care? And the problem with it was I didn't care about all these sidekicks, and they kept naming all the different types of sidekicks and don't put a face to the name. And I was just like, okay, who's this person? Who's that person? And I felt lost. Now, when it came to our two main characters, again, I did like them. I did like the interactions in the book. And, you had some high school moments where Courtney was being grounded and she couldn't do her superhero stuff unless it was an emergency. I like that stuff of it, but I just didn't like the overall main story. And, it just wasn't great. I didn't care about the TNT character and the Dynamite sidekick. Coming in at number 4, I have a book here that I'm starting to get disappointed with. This is Deceased, issue 4. I don't know, man. This is not the same type of Deceased that I read in the past. I feel like that maybe Tom Taylor is running out of ideas here, and this is more of, okay, let's see what I can come up with, to sell Deceased comic books, right? The first 2 issues are really good, and this issue was okay. I felt like it started off really strong with a good emotional moment when it comes to Alfred on how he was forced to kill his sons, the Robins, and it was a very tough situation. Batman as well, and we get to see the relationship with him and Leslie Tompkins, and I thought that was a really good stuff in the beginning of this book, and that was your emotional beat. And Tom Taylor always seems to have those emotional beats in his comic books, which is good, which is strong. But the overall book, when it comes to the action and the jaw drop death and the overall plot progression, I felt just really wasn't there. I felt like this was that middle issue where it's just kind of like, okay, we got to get to the end of this story now, right? We get to see John pick up Batman, which is Damian, and we get to see them go to Oa to make plans to see what they're going to do in order to stop this antivirus. And they're having this discrepancy with each other about, we can save everyone on these planets because we have the cure. And the Guardians are like, no, you can't. There's too much of a risk, so you just gotta destroy them. So they're at odds with each other, right? We didn't get to see enough Darkseid in this book. We get to see Darkseid try to take on Maxima, and he was successful, but that battle was short-lived, so you didn't really see anything. So I felt like it was kind of a filler part. And again, you get all this, discussion in this book. Not a lot happened overall. I mean, I liked, how the two wound up going to battle with each other at the end. I didn't expect that to happen. I thought that was kind of fun. It's like, oh great, now we get to see our superheroes go battle against the Guardians. But at the same time, I felt like, you know what, that is a little bit out of character. But when you get to the end of the book, it's the influence under Ares, the god of war. So again, the book was good. It was all right, but it just wasn't spectacular, and I felt like it didn't really progress the plot all that much. It's just like we're at a standstill right now, and I kind of felt that way for issue 3 and issue 4. So we'll see what issue 5 and 6 has to bring here. Coming in at number 3, we have Junkyard Joe, issue 2. I really loved issue 1 with Junkyard Joe making his appearance in Vietnam and fighting alongside, you know, his army soldiers. And it was a very entertaining issue. It was a robot that developed this conscience, and it was great. And we got to see a survivor at the end of that book. There was one person that survived, and he makes his appearance once again in this comic book, and that survivor is right here. And his name is, I'm trying to see what it is, Maury Davis, and he's become a cartoonist, and he actually draws Junkyard Joe, and he feels that it's all in his head because the army told him it was in his head, that he wasn't real, that he was a fictional character that he created. So he wound up putting it on, you know, on paper. And after years of doing this comic strip of Junkyard Joe, you know, lack of sales in newspapers and whatnot, you know, after so many years, it winds up being canceled, and that was it. And here you got to see the actual comic strip in the book, which was nice. So you're kind of reading a comic strip within a comic, which I thought was nice. And it was a very touching story. He's still having PTSD as he's dreaming about Vietnam and things that happened in his past. And then all of a sudden what happens in the book is we see Junkyard Joe. He winds up making his appearance in the comic book. And our main character, he's just kind of like, whoa, it's really you. It's really you, Joe. He's like, they made me think that you weren't alive, you know, that you weren't actually real. And it was kind of cool to see all these moments with him talking and whatnot. We get to see neighbors that move next door to him also. And but then at the end of the issue, you wind up seeing some bad guys here that are almost like dressed like Junkyard Joe. So are they after him here, right? So it was a very quick read. I was like, when this issue ended, I was kind of like, wow, this is over? And that's what I like about a comic book. When you read it and it goes so fast, you're like, oh man, I want more. So even though there wasn't a lot of action in this book, it was a very heartwarming story, a very touching story, and I love the artwork. And this writing of Jeff Johns for me was much better than the Stargirl book. Coming in at number 2, you might be a little bit surprised by this, but this is World's Finest issue 9. This book was still really good, but I felt like it did have its issues with it as well. So let's talk about it. Artwork, never a problem. I mean, when it comes to this Dan Mora artwork, it's phenomenal. Batman looks great. He's very menacing. He's very threatening. We get to see the Joker in this book, which he looks very threatening as well. Love seeing him in here for the first time. And we get to see our new character, David, right? And now he's being taught the ways of being a hero like Batman. And this could be an issue because he's taught by Superman, he's taught by Batman, he's being taught by the Teen Titans. I feel like there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and I don't know what direction he's going to go, right? And he could become a bad guy in the future. I don't know, especially by the time you get to the end of this issue. And you learn a deep, dark secret on David as well. But we wind up seeing the Joker team up with the Key. They get this angler thing, and they use this device to unleash a flood on, I think it was in Gotham. There was some good character moments here with the Flash and Superman as they were racing each other. We get Teen Titan moments in here. Again, David is doing things that maybe he shouldn't be doing as a hero. And we get to see Superman kind of unload on him a little bit, right? And then in this moment here, we get to see David confess on what he did, on why he feels responsible that he killed his parents. Okay, so we see that in one page. However, this moment could have been a lot more powerful, but it was overshadowed by this huge flood that happens in Gotham City that the Key and the Gotham created. And you just, all of a sudden you had those emotions, and then it literally washed away, just like the comic showed, right? And now Superman and Batman have to deal with this flood at hand. And then by the time we get to the end of this issue, you wind up seeing David being captured, and he's under the influence of the Joker. And that was kind of cool. But here's what I was talking about, to where, okay, David's being used, being influenced by Superman, by Batman, by the Teen Titans, and now he's being captured by the Joker. And so is he going to become a bad guy for the Joker? So that's still yet to be determined, but that's where they could be going with this whole thing. So even though I really, really like this issue, I think the nitpicky part was the emotional impact that moment should have had when he actually killed his parents and his planet was destroyed. It was overshadowed by a flood. So yeah, but still really good book, still very entertaining. I will never not recommend this book. Very well written. Coming in at number 1 goes to Murder World Avengers issue 1. Now guys, this is not the only issue that has to do with Murder World and Avengers. It's not just a one shot, okay? This is an actual series, like the Miss Marvel team up book that we most recently had when she teamed up with X-Men, Venom, Moon Knight. It's actually one continuous story. So you're gonna want to pick up all the following issues with this series, and I'll show you what they are. Plus you get a bonus here. If you read the last volume of Black Widow, which is really well written by Kelly Thompson, story threads happen in this book as well. So you're gonna want to read this. And this was a great book. This gave me Squid Game vibes completely. And it doesn't really even have to do with the Avengers, which was so cool about this book. It was about some Joe Schmo YouTuber, and that's what made it a lot more fun as well. So here we go. Let's talk about it. All right. So the artwork in this book, absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing blows you out of the water, but it was just a great book. Okay. So it opens up with a YouTuber by the name of Paul. He was just your regular average YouTuber at first. He just did some unboxing videos and he got some followers and he wound up blowing up. Okay. Now he does these things where he takes you to places, myths, legends, horror stories, and he finds Murder World, right? And he puts it all over the internet, and then he gets this invitation and he says, oh, Arcade's like, I want you to document this whole, event that's going on where 200 people are invited, one person's going to win, all the other people will get murdered, the winner will get to change their life, they'll win $100 million. It sounds just like Squid Games, right? I mean, that's basically the plot in this book. So the kid's like, okay, cool, we're on our way. So he gets flown to the place where they have it. He thinks he's this big wig that he's going to document everything else, and then all of a sudden he's thrown into this tournament. He's like, wait. He's like, I'm supposed to be, met by Arcade. I'm supposed to document. And then all of a sudden, he finds himself trying to survive, right? And Paul has always considered himself lucky. It's like right place, right time type of thing. He's always gotten the luck on his side. So he survives the first stage where he goes through the room and people are being blown up and killed. They have to go through some obstacle course. A guy gets shot and whatnot. And then here you get to see the Avengers. But these are not really the Avengers. They're like robots, and then they have to survive and whatnot. So the kid Paul is freaking out. He's like, oh my God, I'm not supposed to be here. He's crying. And then all of a sudden, go figure, this dude becomes his mutant powers evolve right in front of everybody. And so he winds up saving the day, and he beats these robot Avengers and stuff. And he's just like, oh man, he's like, this is great. This is right place, right time. I feel like I can win this $100 million and change my life. And he's all happy and shit. And it's so exciting. And then boom. Right there, baby. He gets shot right in the freaking head. And it's just awesome because the rules state Arcade says this is a tournament for normal people, nobody with mutant abilities or any kind of superpowers. And the kid gets shot right there and then, and that's how the issue ends. And like people are looking at him and they're like, oh, he's dead, and they walk away, and it's crazy. And then when you read the end of the book, it shows you the Black Widow tie-in about how Black Widow is on Arcade's tail based off of what he did in her series. Now, if you've never read the last volume of Black Widow, you should. It's so well done. So this continues in Murder World Spider-Man issue 1. Okay, so that's where you're going to have to read the next issue. But just a great book overall, guys. And anything that has a Murder World attached to it for the next few months, you're going to want to check this out. So I think there's a Moon Knight one. There's a couple other ones on there. So yeah, definitely check those ones out, guys. But this is a book that I felt was missed. If you read it, let me know in the comments below. If you didn't know about it, let me know in the comments below. Go to your shop, pick it up. You're going to want to read it. It's absolutely phenomenal. So will Murder World Avengers issue 1 remain number 1? I still got quite a few books, guys, so we'll see. We got Chroma issue 1. We have this new horror book, Door to Door, Night to Night, or Night by Night issue 1 by Cullen Bunn. We have the Captain America and the Winter Soldier special issue 1. We got Blade Vampire Nation issue 1. We have I Hate Fairyland issue 1. We have She Bites that took forever to come out issue 2. We have Something is Killing the Children, issue 26, which is always a strong contender to take number 1. We have, it's not Spectrum, it's Thunderbolts, issue, we have issue 4. We have She-Hulk, issue 8. We have 10,000 Black Feathers, we're on issue 3. We have Gunslinger, issue 14, which I think is a strong contender for number 1. And then we got this Nightmite, or Nightwing, issue 98. So there you guys have it. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's episode of After the Poll. If you love the video, guys, you know what you gotta do. You gotta give it a thumbs up and do all that stuff. And of course, guys, if you love my content, I'll leave you everything I picked up at the comic book shop this particular comic book week. And of course, guys, keep buying, keep collecting. But always remember, read those comics. Guys, I'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye.